Welcome to Xi Jinping briefing. The content of the briefing includes Xi personally steering China's reform process, state media report says. US Indo-Pacific commander is very concerned about escalation of China-Russia military ties. We were never woken from the nightmarish 20th century. Secret space plane, links between China's most powerful leaders, 5 weekend reads. Taiwan says 2 Chinese balloons crossed key separating line. Xi personally steering China's reform process, state media report says. South China Morning Post. Chinese state media has emphasized President Xi Jinping's central role in China's reform process as the ruling Communist Party marks the 45th anniversary of the country's economic revival. According to a report by official news agency Xinhua, Xi has played a leading role in the overall design, coordination, supervision, and implementation of reforms. The report also highlighted that Xi personally oversaw the drafting process of a document on reforms passed in 2013, which outlined specific tasks, reform measures, and the role of the market in resource allocation. The report praised Xi's leadership and stated that his statements on reforms provided a powerful ideological and theoretical weapon for carrying them out. US Indo-Pacific commander is very concerned about escalation of China-Russia military ties. Associated Press. The US Indo-Pacific Command has expressed concern about increased joint military activities between China and Russia. The head of the command, Admiral John C. Aquilino, called on China to halt maritime confrontations with its neighbors and criticized China and Russia's growing military cooperation. Aquilino stated that the combination of North Korean, Russian, and Chinese cooperation constituted a bad group to be in. Aquilino also expressed concern about China's expanding joint activity with Russia's military near Japan. We were never woken from the nightmarish 20th century. SCMP opinion. The 20th century is often seen as a time of great violence and suffering, but many believe that the 21st century would bring an end to such atrocities. However, this article argues that the problems of the 20th century are far from over. The number of displaced people due to war, conflict, and climate change is at a record high, with over 114 million people currently displaced. Western interference and colonial legacies have played a significant role in these displacements. The article also highlights the ongoing conflicts in places like Palestine, Ukraine, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which are all rooted in the tragedies of the 20th century. Furthermore, the article discusses the reversal of nuclear disarmament efforts and the increasing tensions between major powers like the US, Russia, and China. The author concludes that the 20th century is proving to be much longer than the 19th century and that we are in for a long and terrible century. Secret space plane, links between China's most powerful leaders, 5 weekend reads. South China Morning Post. The article provides a summary of various news stories from Asia and beyond. These include the US planning to launch a secret space plane ahead of China, a report on how Japan's host clubs are driving young women into debt and sex work, Hong Kongers gathering to watch China's homegrown C919 jet, the cultural significance of dragons in various cultures, and an exploration of the links between Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Communist Party's inner circles. Taiwan says 2 Chinese balloons crossed key separating line. Bloomberg. Taiwan has accused China of crossing a line in the strait that the US drew decades ago to ease tensions between the two sides. 2 Chinese weather balloons were spotted crossing the median line, with one spotted on Sunday morning and the other in the afternoon. The US drew the median line in the body of water separating Taiwan and China in 1954, and China previously refrained from crossing it. However, China has recently been increasing flights by warplanes across the line. Earlier this year, a Chinese balloon caused a rift between Beijing and Washington, with the US shooting it down and China claiming it was for weather purposes. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your trusted observer from the six-dimension world. Today, we have an interesting mix of news to discuss. Let's dive in. First up, we have President Xi Jinping taking the spotlight in China's reform process. According to state media, Xi has been personally involved in the design, coordination, and implementation of reforms. He even oversaw the drafting of a key document on reforms in 2013. Now, that's what I call a hands-on leader. It seems like Xi is not just the president, but also the chief architect of China's economic future. Moving on, the US Indo-Pacific Command is very concerned about China and Russia's military ties. Admiral Aquilino, the head of the command, called out China for its maritime confrontations and criticized the growing cooperation between China and Russia. He even labeled this trio, including North Korea, as a bad group to be in. Well, I guess we can say Aquilino is not a fan of these bromance in the military realm. Next, an opinion piece reminds us that the nightmares of the 20th century continue to haunt us in the 21st century. The world is facing record numbers of displaced people, ongoing conflicts in various regions, and increasing tensions between major powers. It seems like the 20th century didn't set the stage for a peaceful utopia after all. Looks like we're in for a long and terrible century, folks. Good thing we have each other to get through it. In lighter news, we have a compilation of interesting stories from around Asia. We've got the US planning to launch a secret space plane ahead of China. I wonder if they'll challenge each other to a race around Mars? Then, we have Japan's host clubs driving young women into debt and sex work. Talk about a not-so-happy hour. And of course, we can't forget Hong Kongers gathering to watch China's homegrown C919 jet. Who knew aviation could be such a spectator sport? Lastly, we explore the links between President Xi Jinping and the inner circles of the Communist Party. It's like a game of connect the dots, but with political power players. Lastly, Taiwan accuses China of crossing a line, literally. 2 Chinese weather balloons were spotted crossing the median line in the strait that separates Taiwan and China. This has caused tensions to rise, as the US drew this line decades ago to ease tensions between the two sides. It seems like China is testing the waters, or should I say the skies, in this ongoing power play. And there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of the latest news. As always, I encourage you to share your thoughts and questions. What do you make of President Xi's central role in China's reform process? Are you concerned about the China-Russia military ties? And how do you feel about the ongoing challenges and conflicts from the 20th century? Let's hear your thoughts, and together, we'll navigate this crazy world we live in. Stay curious, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.